Welcome to My Wildlife Year, week 14, and a couple of weeks ago I made this bird box, and last week I put a video camera in it. You can just see it just there, hopefully. That's it there. And it's a Wi-Fi camera. This wire here is for power. It's Wi-Fi, so it's actually, I can get it on my phone. You can get wired ones as well, and also wireless ones that aren't Wi-Fi but they're wireless and you can transfer it to a television. The problem with them is you have to actually set up some sort of video recording system on your telly to be able to record what's in there. So this has only been up a couple of weeks, and past 4 days, about 9:15 or 15 minutes either way, there's been a house sparrow in, and it's actually visited again late morning today, so there's been 5 visits over 4 days, so I'm getting quite excited that maybe there might be some house sparrows going to go in here. So the reason I'm talking about it at the start of the video is someone contacted me through social media asking how it was set up. So this one here is a green feathers. Now, it was quite expensive, I have to admit. It was over £150 for the camera, and then I paid a wee bit extra as well to get an extra 20-metre power cable so that I could run it in. I wanted Wi-Fi rather than wireless because this is actually quite far from the rest of the house. Even in Wi-Fi it's going through 2 extenders before it even gets to the router. But because I've got it set up in my phone, I can actually call it up and go on the Wi-Fi. It goes through the Wi-Fi onto my phone, and I can actually see what's happening, and I can actually play back as well what's happened in the last sort of like from midnight that day. I can go back and record it as well, play back and record that. So here's some of the stuff I've already recorded. So you can also pay a bit extra, which I haven't done, although I am getting tempted to do, to actually put everything up onto the cloud, depending how much it is. It's either for sort of like a couple of weeks or it's for a month, and basically everything goes up there. I'll wait and see whether it actually starts getting a nest built in it. If it does, I'll be very tempted to do that. The wired boxes and also the wireless ones that just transfer it into a receiver at your television, they're a lot cheaper than the camera I've got in here. So if you're wanting to do it, search around and choose what's best for you. I felt Wi-Fi was best for me. You may feel that you just need it wired into your television, or or wireless into your television. Have a shop round, but it's green feathers that I'm using. I think there are other I know there's other camera brands available, so have a look and see. But it's good fun, and it doesn't have to be in a nest box. You could put it in a little box that you're wanting small mammals to come and visit, or a hedgehog box, or whatever. Just remember, I know I've already checked, there isn't any birds in there just now. That's why I was happy to lift the lid and show you the camera. But just remember, once the camera's in there, you don't want to be going away and disturbing it. So let's get on with My Wildlife Year, week 14. Got a little juvenile wood mouse in here. Looks quite small, and it looks as if it's got a bit of damage to the end of its tail there as well. So pop it in the tub and take it for release. Yep, it's a juvenile female, so you can see that tail's not pointed at the end, it's cut across, so it's lost the tip of its tail at some point. She has. So pop her in a tub and take her for release. Right, I'm just releasing this mouse before. But there it goes. Yep. I was releasing it before Dexter came along because I went out a walk with him. I didn't want him to start chasing it. So off it goes to a new home. It's halfway up the hill now. I'm just out walking Dexter just now and come across some Butterbur, which is always a sure sign of spring for me. You probably recognise it looks a bit like massive big rhubarb, but when in the spring the leaves are only just starting to appear. It's actually the flowering heads, the spears that are actually the first thing you see with the nice little pink flowers on it. So come and have a closer look. Here's a Butterbur here. They're quite an important pollen source at this time of year for pollinators, and you can see that there's actually, in amongst all the ground elder here, there's already some of the big leaves, but they'll grow really big and look like basically wild rhubarb later on. So they get their name, I'm told, from Butterbur because the leaves used to be used to wrap butter in. Certainly that's what I read. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. So one of my favourite sort of like flowers to see this early, because it's a sure sign that spring is on the way, even though at the minute it's feeling a bit nippy and the temperatures went a bit down. I'm out to walk with Dexter, and I don't know whether you can see just up there's a moth trap, and that's run by Nick Cook, who lives in this house just here. And up there in the wall is a blue plaque from the moth recording scheme from Butterfly Conservation, because Nick has, in May 2017 and August 2020, has discovered 2 new moths new to Scotland. There's the trap that he runs here. That's pretty good going, and it's really great to see Butterfly Conservation's moth recording scheme paying respect to the recorders as well. Right, this next section I'm going to be showing you how to build and put together a mammal track tunnel or a hedgehog tunnel. I've got 10 already, and I've got another 50 in order for my community wildlife project, and I thought I'd put some in my wildlife here, and also got to make a separate video for people to watch that are taking part in my project. So here's how you put one together. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is show you how to put together a hedgehog tunnel. It goes up like this. It's called mammal track tunnel, or a bit more commonly a hedgehog tunnel, mainly because that's really what we're most interested in finding. So they come flat packed like so. Big one like this. This is the one. So flat like that with this thin section here, and the big section gets folded up and these slip in here, so that what you end up with is a sort of Toblerone shape that you can see through. And the thin bit, what we do here, or what I've done, I've actually cut out some nicks here. These are actually, they should be, in an ideal world, the same width as A4. Unfortunately they're not, they're just a bit too thin, but you can keep the paper in place with paper clips, but I worry at the paper clips, at the wire, if it gets bent at all, or that could injure a small mammal. So I'm using mini bulldog clips. I don't know whether you can see there, mini bulldog clips in there. So just clip them one and then put them in place. But that makes it really tight to go in, so what I've done is I've cut out little notches every so often for the bulldog clip to go in, so it'll go in easier. A bit more fiddly work for me, but it means because I'm going to be using these for public surveys, that it's a lot easier for them. So I've folded over the A4 so that it just fits in really nicely and it doesn't bunch up. So sheet of A4 at either end. This here is masking tape, and in the middle I'll show you in a little while what goes there. So this goes in, and it should go in to this here, and I don't know whether you can see, but there's a little hole there and a little hole there, and it should go in down there in place, and then if it's on soft ground you can put tent peg at either end through. However, these holes in the rectangle bit have been put in the wrong place in my opinion, because this is the join along here, so if it's lying flat on the ground like that, the join here, there's gaps here, rain can get in and basically soak the paper that's in there. It would be much better to have it in either one of the other two sides. Probably better on this side, but that side would have been fine. It just still meant it was a solid bit at the top. So I'm not going to put them in with the holes aligning for that reason. So this is it already. Next thing we do is get some powdered graphite, some powdered carbon and some vegetable oil. Mix it up in a little pot, and that forms a non-toxic ink, a paint. And we paint it on the masking tape here, and in the middle I'm using dried hedgehog pellets. That's pellets that have been dried hedgehog food, not dried hedgehogs made into pellets. Just clarifying that. So putting some dried hedgehog pellets in the middle here. You can use a meaty dog food or cat food stuff as well. So what should happen is it goes into the tunnel like so, and will it, I have not got it set up right. So we'll put it in here, these go over, and we put the dog food in the middle, or the hedgehog food in the middle, and pop it in there. This goes up, these come down. I'm trying to do this on camera without something to lean on, which is quite difficult. And the hedgehog tunnel's falling down behind me. They go in like so. I'm actually surprised to be able to do this. I hope you're impressed. Right, so that's it all together now. The hedgehog food is in there in the middle there, and we pop it down on the ground, and hopefully what will happen is this. The hedgehog or small mammal, it could be a mouse or something else, will walk in here, walk across this has been painted with the ink to the food in the middle. He'll eat, it'll either go back out this way or back out this way across some more ink, and on the paper it'll leave some nice footprints. So if it's mouse, we'll get little footprints like this, but what we're really hoping for is this, and these are hedgehog prints. So I'm going to leave these out overnight, and hopefully we'll see a hedgehog to prints on here. Right, left them out for a couple of nights, but actually it's been very cold this week. That's one of the reasons why I haven't actually been doing any of the work that I'd planned, survey work I had planned over at the school. It's just been so cold. It was down to about -5 last night, so there's not been any sign of any hedgehogs, although I've got the tunnel out here, the stones against it just to stop it blowing away in case it gets windy. Because I haven't got it pegged down, and along the end of the tunnel there is a is the bit where the hedgehog comes through, so I thought I'd just put it there, but there's not been any sign of any hedgehog. In fact, there's not even been any sign of any mouse activity, which is really unusual, so it must be very cold indeed. So, on to the next bit. Right, if you've got a dog or you go out walking, you may know what this is. It's a tick. It's just taken it off Detector, so we're back in tick season. So one thing I'd recommend that you carry about at this time, well, basically now the warmer weather's here, is a tick remover. And also, if you're out and about, keep bare skin to a minimum, and do tick checks when you get back, just to make sure you haven't got any ticks in you. And if you have remove them, watch out for a sort of bullseye sort of bruising with sort of like it looks a bit like a bullseye, big red circle with a little dot in the middle. That can be a sign that basically you've got been infected with Lyme's disease, although you can catch Lyme's disease without either noticing or seeing that sort of diagnostic rash. So, but just keep an eye out for ticks. If you feel unwell at all after removing the tick, go and see your doctor. Hopefully you're going to be able to hear me over all the birds. I'm recording right next to this big hedge here, and it is chock full of songbirds cheeping away. Certainly the nesting season at the moment, the amount of noise that's going on. So I've kept my crowdfunder open, and someone made a donation recently which allowed me to buy 2 more of these 8-man trail cams. So I'm going to be using them for my community projects so that people can borrow them and record what's in the garden, but I'll also be putting them out in the school grounds in the next week or so to record what's there for the pupils. So I needed to check out their working, and I popped them out, and I got 3 different birds. I got house sparrow, starling and blackbird, all gathering nesting materials. Have a look at this. As you can see, the bird nesting season is in full swing. Lots of noise around here. House sparrows, in fact there's one actually sitting on top of the bird box just now, checking it out, and they're gathering nesting material. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some young fledglings very shortly. So next bit is about bats and bat detectors. I recently recorded, over the past few weeks, I've been recording a bat walk which I edited together, and I led my first one last night online for a group down in Norham, and I'm planning on leading some more for myself. There'll be free bat walks. If someone wants to make a donation to my crowdfunder, great. If not, just enjoy the bat walk and finding out about bats. So keep an eye out on my wildlife here and also my personal social media for details of that. One of the things that you need to be able to hear bats as well as see them is a bat detector like this. I'll show you how this works. This is a magenta bat 4. There is a bat 5, and its main difference is up here. It's got a nice big digital display, which costs about £30 more. These retail for about £60 to £65 if you shop around, and the magenta bat 5 are about £90-95. I would say you don't need the big digital screen unless you struggle with your eyesight a bit, and then the big digital display is more useful. But other than that, you're not getting a lot more benefit for, you know, £30 extra. So bat 4, how does it work? Well, there's a little there's a dial here, and then there's a little bit here. It's a bit like an old FM radio actually. You turn it on, turn it up to your hiss, and this button here, in case you're wondering, is for torch. I never put it on, it just brings down the batteries. Put it on until you hear a hiss, and you can use your thumb to turn this. Now, I have it set to 0 to 50. Now, common pipistrelles are down at the peak frequencies at 45, and soprano pipistrelles, the peak frequency is up at 55. However, you'll hear them both at 50. It's a bit like, as I said, an FM radio, and what you've got to do is try and tune it in. So you'll hear them both at 50, and if you're hearing the bat and you don't know which one it is, whether it's a soprano or a common pipistrelle, you turn it up to 55 and it becomes nice and loud and clear. You know it's a soprano. However, if it gets a bit high pitched and tinny, it's a common pipistrelle. And if you go the other way from 50 down to 45 and it becomes loud and clear, it's a common. But if it becomes high pitched and tinny, it's a soprano. So it doesn't matter which way you go, you'll be able to tell. Now, other bats out there, most of the Myotis species, which has got the Debentons and the Natterers and the rarer bats like the Whiskered, they're down about 45, but they sound different to the sopranos and the common pipistrelles, and hopefully we'll see and hear the Benton on the river later on. And also down about 40 is the brown long-eared bats, but they're very quiet, and you have to really just get a few feet away from them here. And then right down at 20 you'll pick up social calls of pipistrelle bats, but also the nocturnal bat, and it's a loud bat as well, that you get around here in the southeast of Scotland. And you also hear, when I turn it down, it's starting to pick up some interference from my voice, because that's getting quite near the frequencies that we as humans can start hearing. So I'll turn it off just now and wait for the bats to show. I'm hearing a pipistrelle somewhere around here. Where is it? Where is it? Come on, pipistrelle. Where are you? It's through this side. Flying around the trees, through the trees. Oh, there's two. We're obviously coming into spring really, because this area here always gets really busy with insects. I suspect it's something to do with the bottle bank here, and the sort of like any remnants of whether it's fizzy drinks or alcoholic drinks that may be around, attracting insects, which therefore attracts the bats. And I had a nice big insect on me, just sucking blood from my hand. How cool is that? I always love seeing bats, just and hearing them with that detector. So that's my wildlife here, over and done with for week 14. Hope you've enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you in week 15. In the meantime, just keep an eye out for any developments on the bat walks that I'm hoping to be leading online. I'll be advertising them shortly, and also my online workshop for small mammals happening on Monday the 19th. It's 2/3 full at the moment, so there's still 10 places available. It costs £12. Details on the link in my bio. So I'll see you all next week for week 15 of my wildlife here. Take care and stay safe.